So what happens when you want to become an intuitive eater, but you just scheduled a vacation or you have something coming up, an event next year in a couple months that you just want to lose weight for? What do you do? I'm Christy Brown, founder and creator of Intuitively Strong, and this is Food for Thought. So this is a question that one of my clients just asked me, and I thought it was a really good question because so many of us have this kind of thought process in our heads, right? We're thinking, oh, okay, I'm done dieting. I am just done with this. I don't want to do it anymore. I'm sick of it. I'm tired of not trusting myself around food. I'm tired of eating super clean and good and following the rules during the week, but then at nights and on weekends, I just binge and I overeat. Right? You're tired of dieting, like running the diet cycle, yo-yo dieting back and forth and binging and restricting and binging and restricting and earning and burning, and then just not being able to keep any foods in the house. You're just like, I'm ready for this to stop, this chaos, right, of life, constantly thinking about food, constantly labeling yourself as good or bad because you ate something or didn't eat something, right? Like this is what we're trying to end. And so you're like, I'm going to become an intuitive eater. I'm going to start eating mindfully. I'm going to have no rules on food. So all foods can fit in amounts that feel good to me, right? I'm going to honor my hunger. I'm going to respect my fullness. I'm going to do it. And then something comes up, like a vacation. And that's exactly what my client just asked me. She sent me a message and said, Christy, I'm going on vacation in a year. And I'm scared. I need to lose weight. I am so uncomfortable in my body right now, and I don't know what to do. Should I be working on weight loss right now? She is a client of mine that is at a point to where she said she feels uncomfortable. She said that she started to, her stomach's starting to hurt, parts of her body are starting to hurt. She doesn't want to gain any more weight. And she's scared that, intuitive eating or walking into this world of food freedom is going to kind of make her gain more weight, right? And this is a fear that we all have. This is a fear that, oh, Waitland, he's itching. This is a fear that all of us have, right? Like the fear of weight gain, it's a really big deal. It's a very, very big deal. And for people like me, for my client, for many of us, for you probably, gaining even 1 pound is like, we've always been taught in our world that that's failure. Gaining weight is failure. I failed. I didn't do well. And that's been ingrained into us. Like that's our social conditioning. I don't know about you, but I grew up in the 90s. And that is something that has been conditioned into me, is that from, watching MTV and just, Teen Beat magazine and all those things. This was before social media, but even then it was like, wow, you've got to get your summer body. You've got to get in your best body shape. And it's almost like, it feels like if we're not constantly striving to be at our leanest and to get back to the lowest weight we've ever been, then we're not trying hard enough, or that we're not worth health, or that we're not doing it right, or that we've just given up on ourselves. And believe me, I understand that wholeheartedly. I was somebody with bulimia, with somebody who abused laxatives just to keep that body because I couldn't lose it, right? I didn't want people to think I gave up on myself. I didn't want people to think that, oh my gosh, what did she do? She gained so much weight. Oh, did you see Kirsty? Like, oh, she's gained a lot of weight. Oh yeah, what's up with her? Like, I didn't want people to think about that about me. So the fear of weight gain stems from a lot of things. And as much as people want to say that, oh yeah, it's for health, and yes, it is in a lot of cases, our driving reason a lot of times is to lose weight for other people. And again, there's a balance there, right? There's definitely a part of us that wants to do it for health reasons, which is understandable. I get it. You want to be able to walk up the stairs without huffing and puffing. You want to be able to run around and play with your kids. Like that's very, very important and something that we should all be striving for. My biggest thing here, and when people start talking to me about, all right, Christy, I don't know if I can do this intuitive eating thing because I have to lose weight. This is what I tell them. And this is what I've told my client as well. It's that think about the last time that you went on a diet, okay? Why did you stop? Why did the diet end? It's either because you got sick, because you went on a vacation, because life got too busy, or you didn't have time to meal prep, or you forgot your lunch one day and you just needed to start all over again. And maybe you did it on Monday, but then your life just went to shit and everything happened and you had to redo it again and again and again. So you're constantly starting and stopping and starting and stopping. This is what happens. Diets, constant dieting, chronic dieting, it was not meant to be long-term. Dieting is not meant to be long-term. The biggest predictor of dieting is that you will fail at the diet, that you will gain more weight than you had previously on you. Because what diets do is they pull back that bow of restriction, right? They keep pulling it back and pulling it back and pulling it back. And eventually the bow is so taut, you have nowhere else to go. So you send that bow off into binge land and you just, woo, like, screw it. Fuck it, I don't care. I'm going to eat whatever I want because I'm going to eat all this now, get it all out of my system, get it all out of the house because diet starts Monday. Yep. And I'm going to do it this time. But nothing really changes except for the fact that we said that the diet starts Monday. Like, we still feel the same way. Life is still going to get in the way. You know, the kids are still going to wake you up in the middle of the night. The dogs are still going to, you know, see a squirrel and wake you up at 3 a.m. and you're going to get broken sleep and you're going to have to stay late at work and you're going to get a flat tire and life is just going to happen. So dieting makes you live in this bubble. And that's why they don't work. It's because when we start to live in this bubble, you know, okay, well, I can't go out tonight because I can't drink. And if I'm not going to drink, then I'm not going to be any fun. So I'm just going to stay home. We start excluding ourselves from things, or we go out with our friends and we're the bummer because we're like, all we're doing is thinking about the food that we can't have, watching everybody else eat what we want to eat, but we can't have it. So we're like, oh my gosh, they're talking to us. And we're just like, okay, well, maybe if I, oh, that's wonderful. Yeah. Maybe if I do extra cardio tomorrow, or if I don't eat breakfast tomorrow, then I can have that extra roll. Oh yeah, that's wonderful. Oh yeah. And then, okay, I really want a glass of wine. If I have a glass of wine, okay, maybe I just won't eat bread tomorrow. I won't eat bread tomorrow. Oh, that's cool. Yeah. And you're just not really listening. You're not really experiencing anything, and you're just a basket case the entire time. So when we talk about going on a diet or doing something to better ourselves, it doesn't really better our health or ourselves. It sets us back. So the way to go about doing this, instead of, okay, I have a vacation coming up or an event coming up or a wedding, whatever it is, instead of I'm going to lose weight before the wedding, it's I'm going to start thinking about how I can take better care of myself, right? And yeah, that's such a small, simple phrasing and term. But when we start thinking in terms of, okay, what do I got to take away? Let's flip that around. That's like diet mentality. So instead of saying, what can I take away? Start thinking instead, what can I add in? I'm not going to take anything away. The more I tell myself that I can't have carbs, that I can't have sugar, that I can't drink it all, then all that's going to do is make me want that thing more. Our brains are so primal. They're built to find scarcity in the world, right? Whatever's scarce, our brains are set out to find it. So if we need shelter, we're going to find shelter. If we need food, we're going to find food. And our brain sends us dopamine hits whenever we find those things. That's why when we eat, or when we finally get that sugar, that ice cream, that drink, that roll, the bread and the butter, whatever it is, we get that dopamine hit. And we're like, oh, I want another dopamine hit. Oh, I want another dopamine hit. And that's where emotional eating comes from. That's where overeating comes from. Binge eating comes from the power of restriction and telling ourselves that we can't have it, using food as a coping mechanism, down the line, things like that. Instead of telling yourself that, you know, I need to go on a diet and I need to get better, here are the 3 things I want you to do instead. So number 1, add instead of subtract, right? That's it right there. Number 1, start adding things in instead of taking them away. What I mean by that is, instead of for breakfast, okay, I'm just going to have a black cup of coffee and a thing of yogurt, I'm going to have you add more things in, right? That yogurt is gonna literally, if I ate that for breakfast, it would last me like 10 minutes. I would be hungry and thinking about food for the rest of the day. I would be starving. So instead, what we should do is add things into it. My whole thing is I have especially my advanced clients start working on what we call DNVs, which is your daily nutritional values, right? There's no more rules, there's no more restrictions. Instead of food rules, we have food values. So now it's, all right, my food values is that, you know, values, think of them as like your morals and values in life, right? Like I'm going to be kind, I'm going to flow with things instead of like constantly restrict things or take things away. So I need to make sure that I'm full, satisfied, and nourished throughout the day. food is meant to give me energy. It's meant to biologically feed me so that I can do more things in life, so I can have more energy. So I want nourishment, I want energy, and I want to feel satisfied after I eat. I don't want to be thinking about food 20 minutes later. So I'm going to add to that yogurt and that black coffee my daily nutritional values, my DNVs. Number one is going to be, I'm going to have something with protein in it. Protein and fats, right? Something with protein and fat, that's going to take me throughout the day. It's going to make me last longer. Protein helps you keep you fuller throughout the day, and fats are your brain's like oil, right? Like oil for your car. That's what fats do for your brain. Your brain loves fats. It lives off of them, and fats are slower digesting. So what that does is that keeps you fuller longer because it's slower to digest. So I'm going to have protein, right? I'm gonna have something with fat in it. I'm gonna have protein, even if it's super quick. What I'm gonna do is okay, the yogurt has protein in it, great. That's a check mark. The next thing I'm gonna do is I'm gonna make sure that I have some kind of like fiber in there, right? Fiber is going to also like go through my body. Fiber, think of it like a brush. It goes through your intestines and kind of scrapes things out. That's why it makes you poop, but also it's slower digesting. True fiber actually isn't digestible, but it brushes everything out and kind of like goes through your system and cleans everything out. So again, that's gonna kind of move everything and keep things flowing throughout your intestines. That's gonna make me feel good. And I'm gonna have something like a whole food, whether that's fruit, whether that's a vegetable, whatever it is, that's what I'm gonna do. Maybe I take a bag of baby carrots, right? Maybe I get peanut butter on a whole wheat bagel and I have it with a half cup, at one of my yogurts. Or I might take a half of a bagel. And again, start thinking to yourself, oh, Christy, bagels are so bad. No. Think of calories, like how many calories you're gonna have, how many carbs. Instead of thinking of calories, think of energy. No, that's gonna give me energy. That's gonna take me throughout my day, right? The more that you undereat, it's gonna cause overeating. Undereating causes overeating. So the more you front load your day and eat more foods, again, to a point to where you feel satisfied and not overly stuffed, then it's gonna help you stay fuller longer. You're not gonna think about food as much. You're gonna feel satisfied. You won't have to think about food so much. Another thing a lot of my clients do is they'll make straight up smoothies in the morning. Costco, they have the pre-packaged fruit and kale and all the things. Toss that in a blender, your little bullet, put some yogurt in there or protein powder. You've got your fiber, you've got your veggies, your fruits, you've got your protein, and that's all in one. Personally, me, I physically have to choose something. After years of just being so, forcing myself to not eat, I actually had to physically chew things. I couldn't drink things because I was so underfed and overworked. They actually did a study, and I'm sorry, I can't remember who did the research on this, but there's this book by Viktor Frankl. He talks about how he was in the Holocaust and all the terrible things that they went through. And, they were extremely underfed and they worked every day of their lives. When he was talking in his book, he spoke about how what they would do is they would physically chew air, because that actually started producing, the physical act of chewing started producing saliva in their mouth, which made them feel like they were eating something. So now again, this isn't a tactic to try and make you avoid hunger or anything like that, but if you find that you need to physically chew things, that's a sign that you're likely being underfed. It can be a sign. So just little things to keep looking out for that, okay, maybe Christy, what I would do, because a smoothie sounded so good for me after a while, after I really started healing my relationship with food, I would make that, protein, fiber, and veggie and fruit smoothie, and I would drink it, but I would also have a piece of toast with peanut butter on it, a whole wheat piece of toast with peanut butter, because I physically needed to chew something. So once you start adding things in, you might be like, Christy, that seems like a lot of food. You probably need it. That's like a full breakfast when you can add more things to it. So again, another way to add is to make sure you have 3 to 5 different colors on your plate. Colors are great because it's going to keep having you add more variety. You're gonna have more crunchy things, soft things. You're gonna have different taste textures like sweet. You're gonna have savory. You're gonna have refreshing. You're gonna have crunchy. You're gonna have cold. And then variety, what that does for people like you and I who have a history of binge eating, overeating, undereating, and then yo-yo dieting, all those things, what that's gonna do, variety helps satiate us more. So the more things you have on your plate, even if it's in small amounts, whatever amount feels good to you, then that's gonna satisfy you and keep you fuller longer. So you're not thinking about food until lunchtime or until you need your next snack. So adding is number one. Number two is that we've gotta start putting the scale on the back burner. The scale is one of the most hindering things that people with disordered eating patterns, not necessarily eating disorders, but disordered eating patterns like having to follow a diet, not being able to eat without having a diet, not being able to feel healthy without being on a diet or following a meal plan, or having a restriction list of good and bad foods, or following a certain wellness plan like Noom that has you weighing yourself every day. Like, that's so bad. Don't do that. Don't do that. If you have a history of chronic dieting, that is one of the worst things you can do for yourself. And again, I'm speaking from my personal experience, okay? This is something to where there is 1% of people out there that this does work for, like the dieting, Noom, things like that. But for the 99% of us that diets don't work for, this is for you, okay? My whole thing is we've got to put the scale on the back burner. If feeling good is our main drive, being healthy, taking care of ourselves, then we need to start doing that. And the scale shouldn't be an indicator of that. Think of the scale as a nail gun, right? So we've got all these tools we can use in our world of health. We've got so many tools of health that we can use, but yet we rely on one tool in our toolbox for our entire absolute foundation and building of health. That to me, it's like only having a nail gun to build an entire house. Okay, nope, you can't use a hammer. Nope, the scale is the only thing we're gonna use. That nail gun is the only thing we're gonna use to build this house, right? You're flipping it over, trying to like put things together, and you're trying to cut things with the nail gun. It's just not gonna work. You need multiple tools in your world of health, not just one. So yes, every now and then the scale is okay, but understand that you likely have a traumatic experience with the scale because you're fixated on a certain number, right? You have a number to where we all have that number in our head where we've got to get to this number, we've got to get to this number, we've got to get to this number. And if we don't, we fail. And even if some of us have gotten to that number and then we want more and we want more, right? That's that dopamine hit again. We need more. This isn't doing it for us anymore. And then what happens is we end up relying on that number and we do anything to keep that number, which can lead us to unhealthy things. So instead, think of yourself like a dog. Stay with me here. But a lot of people treat their pets better than they treat themselves, right? Take them for walks, give them water, make sure they're fed, give them care, give them attention, give them love, pet them, love them. These are the things we should start doing to ourselves. Yes, heavy petting yourself, right? Seriously though, are you getting enough water? Are you getting enough food? A lot of times people that have chronic dieting issues or can't stick to a diet or feel like they're caught between the world of I want a diet, but I also want to be an intuitive eater, they are too focused on the scale. But when you remove the scale, now our new progress marker isn't that number anymore. It's how do I feel, right? What do I want to feel when my head hits the pillow tonight? I want to become that person that can leave a half-eaten cookie on a plate, right? That's my goal. I want to be able to stop eating at a certain point and not feel like I have to finish my entire plate. That's our goal. I think she's having a dream. Pretty girl. So that's what we're talking about here. When we remove the scale, how we feel becomes our new progress marker. So we start to build out, especially with my clients, we start to build out our dream lifestyle, right? If my dream lifestyle, I am working out most days and I wake up and I stretch and I get my body ready and mobile and warm, and I juice up my joints, and I make sure I have blood flow in my ligaments, around my ligaments and around my muscles, and all that good stuff in there. And that's what's important to me. So I do it now because that's the life I want to live. I couldn't have gotten here at this point though until I released all of that diet culture nonsense before. So we have number 1, which is add, don't subtract. Number 2, which is toss the scale aside, put it on the back burner, put weight loss on the back burner for a bit. Let's heal that relationship with food. And then once you've healed your relationship with food, once you can be around any food without binging on it, overeating it, feeling anxiety around it, or food timing, or how much to eat, or how much not to eat, how much to work out, once you release all of that and you start going with how you feel, how you want to feel when your head hits the pillow at night, then we get into number 3. And number 3 is to release that all or nothing mentality. Now, that all or nothing mentality is a doozy. That one is like the one that says, okay, well, if you eat that bagel, then clearly you've messed up for the entire day and you might as well just eat like crap for the rest of the day, and we'll start again on Monday, even though it's Tuesday. So now you're spending the rest of the week overeating, eating all the stuff in your house that you don't want in the house anymore because we can't have it around when the diet starts on Monday. So the whole point of this is to actually start habituating food into your life. Meaning, yeah, if you're obsessed with M&Ms or ice cream, have a bite of ice cream or 2 at every meal during the day. Sounds crazy. I did a TikTok video on this though. Something I had one of my clients do. She was obsessed with M&Ms. And I'm like, all right, I want you to start having them breakfast, lunch, and dinner. Take a little mini pack, grab a small handful. And what happened was she eventually grew tired of them. She's like, Christy, you'll never be able to get me to stop eating M&Ms. She used to take a family-sized bag from the grocery store, and she used to eat that like on the way home, the entire bag. And we've all done it. Stuff the evidence, the wrappers, down into the garbage, right? So nobody can see. What? I didn't get any M&Ms. What? I did the same thing. So when we can start saying, no, this food is not going anywhere, I can always have more later, it becomes less intense. We start taking these foods down from their pedestals, and now food is just food. Now she's like, Christy, I can't remember the last time I bought a bag of M&Ms. She's like, I can't even remember. Those 3 things, when we start doing those 3 things, we start to have this lifestyle of flow. I'm enjoying my life. I can allow all foods to fit. And then we get into the next step, which is basically finding out how much feels good to us, which is probably going to be the topic of my next food for thought. So if you need more help with this, if you want a strategic path, something that is evidence-based, a professional with you, holding your hand step by step, then you need to click the link below because we need to talk. Let's get one-on-one, get on a discovery call with me, because on the discovery call, it's completely free, by the way, we're gonna go through your 5 steps to healing your relationship with food and basically making food become effortless. Like literally having an automated lifestyle of, I don't have to think about food anymore. Like it just happens. I eat for nourishment. I eat for energy. I eat for satisfaction. I eat because I want to perform better at work, with my sports, with my training, whatever it is. I want you to start living your best life because it is possible. I mean, I know personally, I didn't want to spend the rest of my life on a diet. That's just not who I want to be. I am a terrible person when I'm on a diet. I don't want my kids to see that either. I want my kids to grow up knowing that, taking care of yourself, self-care overrules that force, that restriction, that just all or nothingness, that perfection, that overachievement, the people pleasing. That is what we're trying to avoid here. So with all that being said, click the link below and I'm going to take you personally on a closed door session. We're going to have go through the next 5 or 6 steps that you're going to need to take you to your best self. All right. And then I'll lay it out. If you did want to get the chance to work with me, then we can go through what that would be like, what that would entail, so that you don't have to go through this on your own. So you don't have to find food freedom on your own, so that you don't have to walk through this very scary jungle alone, because I will be with you every step of the way. All right, it's been so much fun. And I can't wait to talk to you guys next time. See you soon.